wonderful Wednesday. Weather's fantastic outside today. High in the upper 70s. It's a great day to be alive, great day to be outside. This is the Three Guys Who Love Sports. We're here to support guys that are going through mental and physical issues. And if we can help them out for an hour a week, take their mind off what they're going through, and you help them, everybody does a little. Nobody has to do a lot. My name is Chuck Burge, here with my co-host, Mr. Robert Kinney. Robert, how was your weekend, buddy?
Doing well. Hey, if Glenn Burns retires, you just flowed with that meteorological update at the beginning. I think you could possibly.
Did you like that?
I did.
Well, the good thing about weatherman, you can say anything because you're not going to be right.
Correct.
And still get paid lots of money, but that's all right. So we're here at Miller's Ale House, as we are every Wednesday for the last 2 years and a month anyway. Hopefully continue for many, many more years. We are fortunate enough that they host us, and I know I'm getting my Mimi's Fiesta Bowl at 6 o'clock. Robert, what are you getting?
Going chicken parm because they fed us at the Kennesaw Mountain High School football game, and that's what it was. And man, it was good. Garrett told me, he said it's better right now than it is at the restaurant. I said, I don't know. I'm gonna have to try it.
There you go. Lichtenstein, Larry, what did you come up with?
I'm also going with the chicken parm.
Two having the same thing. I don't know that we've done that before.
Outside of burgers, I don't think so.
We do a lot.
Yeah, we
do.
do.
All right.
Yeah, I guess we have fajitas multiple times together too.
All right. Well, let's get on with the show. We have a Kennesaw Express Lube commercial. If Robert can pull it up.
I can do it. There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castro Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or a hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer Castrol products.
So thank you, Brian Bristow, for sponsoring and for your funny posts on Facebook. We love your Reese's peanut butter cups, or your mustard Reese's peanut butter cups. That was quite interesting today.
I loved it just like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber.
All right. So we want to introduce our guest today, Mr. John Will White. John, how are you, buddy? Listen to that crowd.
I love it. Yeah, doing great. Thank you for
Welcome
having
back.
me on.
John was with us back in April, and we wanted to make sure we got him back during college football season because that's where his sweet spot is. He loves the college game. But briefly, we're going to talk about a little baseball just because it's that time of year. As of right now, the Braves are tied with the Mets.
And we have the tiebreaker, so we're in.
As of right now.
Right.
What's the tiebreaker?
Head-to-head.
But we have three more games against them.
Correct. So,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that could go up or down. But as of right now.
Well, and it looks like in a couple of minutes, Braves might have a half-game lead because the Mets are in the bottom of the eighth against Toronto. They're down 1-0, but they haven't got a hit yet.
But
no hit through 8 innings.
I can tell you this. My hatred for the Toronto Blue Jays will probably show through, and they will give it up to the Mets just to make me hate them more.
Well, but the good news is, and I always thought that the Mets were going to take over for the Braves, but after I looked more closely at the schedule, the Mets and the Phillies play each other 7 times in the next 10 games.
Lots of tough games.
And that's a lot of tough games. And we have the Dodgers for 4 games, but we're also playing the Nationals and some other teams that we should beat. So it's really going to come down to if they can split with the Dodgers. They're probably going to take that last wild card position if they don't move up because Arizona's struggling a little bit. But that's about it. I mean, not a whole lot to say about baseball. Rodber, you got anything to add?
Just that Ohtani's really good. I saw that lately. He's really good. Judge isn't bad. And, the Mets can't win forever. They're not that great of a team, so they're on a heck of a run right now. I want to say they're 11-2 out of their last 13 or something stupid like that.
Yeah, they've got to come back to their average.
Yeah, which is below the Mendoza line.
Yeah, and the Braves are they started 19-9, and from there they're 1 game over 500.
And the Braves' injuries have just been
devastating.
Yeah. For them to even be in
And
consideration.
now Whit Merrifield broke his foot or something too, didn't he?
What's that?
Didn't Whit Merrifield break his foot after he got hit in the head? So
That was always a poison pick because when the Phillies give you a guy for the stretch run and you're trying to catch the Phillies, there's something up with that. You don't ever believe that what's in that pudding.
All right, so just real quickly, we talked way early in the year, Robert, about our World Series picks. Do you remember who you picked?
That would be the Braves.
And
The Braves. I believe I went. I don't know. Let me take a
I
quick.
know I went Baltimore and the Dodgers.
I might have said Baltimore. That could have been a.
And you know what? I probably would give a strong lean toward Baltimore right now. I think they've got the head-to-head with the Yankees.
Yeah.
I think Baltimore or Cleveland will be teams I'm rooting for. if in fact the Braves don't make it that far.
All right, so I guess I'm sticking with my pick since I guess Baltimore's number one in the East right now.
They're
still.
actually second.
They're behind the Yankees?
They're tied. They're a half a game back because of an extra game in the loss column. But
Okay. They're basically neck and neck with the Yankees.
neck and neck. But in that particular division, Yankees are 4-6 in their last 10. Baltimore's 5-5 in their last 10. So nobody's trying to win it, and sooner or later that'll change in
right.
September.
All right. Well, we got.
I do have one more thing for you.
Go for it.
Not a non-baseball matter. Since the last time we were here, Caitlin Clark invented a new club. It's the 200 assist, 100 3-point club.
She's the only member?
She's the only member. Her rookie season with 7 games to go. I created a new club. She's already created a new club since I made that note. But the other thing that I'd like to throw out about her that I thought was really interesting, 17% of all flagrant fouls committed in the WNBA this year
We're against her.
are against hers. So here's somebody who's dominating. She's
And done
filling,
so much for the league.
she's filling up your arenas. She's allowing you to get paid more money next year.
And you're trying to kill it.
And here I thought that she was overrated. Isn't
Yeah.
that what Cheryl Swoop said?
Yeah.
It's so unbelievable. So unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, the Mets are going to the top of the ninth, and we're going to get a couple more commercials out of the way. We're going to get into some college football.
I like college football.
Yep. You're up for
You
the
know
Ron
what?
Smith
I also
commercial.
like Ron Smith.
Ron's a good guy.
Yeah, there you go. Making preparations for when you're not around anymore is not easy. Nobody likes to think about their own mortality, and we can talk about this next week. Doesn't always fit into the big picture. And that's why you should contact our friend Ron Smith at Senior Life Insurance. Whether you're being buried or cremated, costs keep going up, but you can lock in a price today and take this final expense off your to-do list. Do your loved ones a favor and take care of this final expense so that when your time does come knocking, they won't have to worry about it. If you're age 1 to 85, they have a plan ready for you. So please contact Ron and his team tomorrow at 440-561-0758.
Hi, my name is Joshua Smith, and my wife Tammy and I are graduates of Kennesaw State College. I've been practicing law for 24 years, specializing in sports and entertainment law while continuing in criminal defense, civil litigation, juvenile and personal injury law, and I'm ready to represent you all the way from a small town to the Supreme Court and any appellate court in between. With all the new rules regarding NIL and cash payments to the athletes, we are placing a new emphasis on Kennesaw State University's student athletics to help our student athletes better navigate some of the bigger issues that have tripped up so many. Give us a call tomorrow at 706-217-2095. In Dalton, that's 706-217-2095.
Double phone number. I like it. I like it.
So we thank you, Joshua and Ron, for being sponsors of the Three Guys Who Love Sports, and also the Owl Show coming up at 7 o'clock tonight, also here at Miller's Ale House. Hootie hoo. So let's get into some college football.
And by the way, you did a phenomenal job reading that compared to ATI last week.
Doesn't take much to do that.
No,
Nate.
it wasn't going to take much to fly by him, but, it was still good.
Well, thank you. All right, so let's talk about the college football of week 3, or was it week 2, I guess?
It was
was
week 2.
Yeah.
Really 3, but now they have a 0 week.
So the winners of the week are...
Hook 'em horns. No way anybody doesn't win like they did. I mean, that was an old-fashioned butt whooping.
Yeah, I thought Michigan would play better defense than they did. They had 7 returning players. So, oh my gosh, the Mets just hit a home run. It's tied 1-1.
I told you the Blue Jays hate me, and I hate you. Don't.
All right. So yeah, Michigan. So Michigan kind of tanked.
I'm not sure they tanked.
You think that's just who they are?
I think that's about. I think Texas is that electric. I think they're clearly one of the top 5 teams. And like you said, or like we all think, they're not the. They might still have the trophy in their place, but they are not of that caliber
And
this year.
Texas has changed remarkably in their persona, and that they actually are playing tough defense now. It has been a long time
Since
they've
anybody
done
in the
that.
Big 12 played defense. Yeah, and now SEC. But and they had their first 2 team running backs hurt the week before the season started, and it doesn't look like they missed a beat at all.
No,
Yeah.
a lot of speed on the outside is going to make up for that.
Yeah.
Just lots of athletes.
So I read an interesting stat today. I was going to see if you guys knew the answer to this question. Who has the longest winning streak currently in college football?
I'd say Texas.
Nope.
Winning streak overall.
Yeah, most consecutive games won as of right now.
So somebody who did make it to the Final Four last year
It did?
did not.
Nope. It is
Couldn't have,
somebody that
because
did not
Michigan's
make
already
fun.
lost one,
Yep.
and it had to have won a bowl game to make it the longest.
Yep.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Arizona now has the longest winning streak
Wow.
in college football
Just
at 9.
Just goes to show you, you can manipulate
At
anything
9.
if you want to make somebody sound really good.
But I think they're in the top 25 now, aren't they?
They're the Desert Swarm.
Yeah.
They're a functional team in a very winnable conference.
Yeah, so we've got to agree that Texas had the most impressive win of the weekend, right?
Texas did.
But who else that was out there that had an impressive win? And I'll tell you one for me was South Carolina. I thought they were trash, and I thought Kentucky might be pretty good.
Yeah.
But Kentucky looked horrible. If you think the Falcons' offensive line looked bad,
Right.
I mean, Vandergriff, is that the new quarterback at Kentucky?
Yeah, he was the
got
guy that left
beat up
UGA.
so bad.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, Georgia goes in there this weekend, 24.5-point underdog or favorites or something like that.
Yep.
The only
That was
way
awful.
Georgia doesn't cover is if the hurricane comes through there and just parks over them and it rains the whole game.
Who also looked good was Tennessee.
That's
Oh,
what
they
I was
did.
getting ready to
SEC.
say. That they're a big winner. They're a
Yeah.
big winner because that really limits. We had the conversation last week. How many can the ACC even hope for? At the end of the year,
Right.
You get that beat down, man. Your odds of getting 2 teams are getting smaller
Look
and
at
smaller.
That's 2 teams that have lost to SEC schools in a big way.
Big way.
And then,
Huge way.
And then Tech beating Florida State.
It does not give you.
It
makes
means
the
little. It
conference.
means very little. The more we get into the season, because Florida State's horrible. The way Boston College handled them.
Yeah,
Well,
but-
no,
but-
I understand what you're saying about Florida State not being that. But if Florida State's not that, that means the whole conference is garbage, and that's where
Yeah,
I
you got
think.
Miami?
Miami and Clemson, I think.
But how good is Miami if all they're playing is garbage? We still don't know what Florida's going to bring to the table, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. I mean, I think Tech plays Louisville next weekend. I think they play VMI this week, and then they play Louisville. Man, Louisville's putting up some points.
Louisville is, but I know ATI is real high on them doing a lot of great things. I look at that schedule, and that schedule is so horrific. They beat Jack State 49-14. I don't know how many bonus points you get for.
Well, we picked that one right. We did have Louisville minus the points.
Correct.
Where's the landing spot for Tech in the ACC? Great scheme of things.
John, after the first game, I thought they had a shot at winning the ACC. But after watching Miami and the way they played, who did they beat? Oh, Florida. When they devastated Florida. I mean, if
Florida,
Cam
you
Ward,
want to
if
talk
Cam
about a
Ward's,
program in disarray.
if Cam Ward's healthy, Miami probably going to win the ACC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There were some other wins. Nebraska was a good win, beating Colorado. They beat them 28-7 or 28-10 or something like that. They were 7-point favorites, but they played good defense. And who's the coach there now? He was with the Panthers, and he's brought back a couple of programs.
Yep.
Baylor.
Yep.
Can't think of his name.
Yeah.
But
I'm looking at him.
yeah, I can see his heavy set face, but
Well, they got Raiola in there as a freshman.
Yeah.
They got, they did bring in some talent, but
now,
they're
did
gonna have to
Raiola come
develop
from
it.
Georgia too?
He was initially
Rule.
was recruited by, but he's
Yeah,
from
Matt Rule.
Yeah,
Matt
yeah,
Rule. That's who it is, yeah.
he's from Arizona.
From Arizona.
Yeah, but
Okay.
he had committed to the Bulldogs and then flipped.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
I don't-
crazy.
A lot of talent.
I don't know. Not in love with a lot of these teams.
Well,
No,
we're still
there's
at
not
that,
a lot of good football going on. Now, of course, there wasn't this weekend anyway.
yeah, we're still at the point in the year where they're playing, the tune-ups before they really get into.
Well,
the
and after week 1, which was really week 2, this was week 2, but it was really week 3. We were anointing all sorts of stuff last week. Well, clearly Alabama, no, Alabama looked like, a garbage fire. And, Penn State, we were talking on the show about Penn State last week. 34-27 over Bowling Green isn't getting you a lot of votes come December.
The inconsistency, Alabama watching that, Milroe has flashes of looking like Cam Newton. And then he'll have a completely open pass and overthrow his guy, by 20 yards. He just
No, and he does look like he could be Cam Newton. He is just such an imposing.
and fast.
So, who's the best quarterback in the SEC right now?
Dart.
Got to be Dart or Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, Ewers would get the nod because of the quality of
Of win
programs
that
that
he
he's
got.
gone against. But boy, Dart. We talked about it. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. Dart's numbers by the time he gets against a real opponent, they're going to be stupid. What do you got? I got 900 yards,
Yeah.
11 touchdowns. He's putting them up.
And it'll be a question of whether or not Mississippi can keep their line healthy. Last year, that's down the stretch. That's where they suffered.
That's where they got
They got punished.
And that's always the problem with playing that SEC schedule, we make fun. I make fun of people all the time. It's like, well, look at Clemson. Well, Clemson's able to take it easy when they go Wake, Pitt, Boston College, and somebody else. They're not going to be able to do that.
And to
in the SEC.
Dabo's credit, they bounced back a little bit. They scored 66 points against App State, right?
52-3 is what.
52-3. So they scored a lot of points.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was looking at Ole Miss. Yes. Dabo and Clemson took care of App State.
So I don't. Do Clemson and Miami play this year? Surely they do.
I don't know. Let me look. But keep talking.
I think they play Florida State, but I'm not sure if
I know
Miami's
Clemson
on the
plays
schedule.
Florida State, yeah.
So that may be their championship game.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. I mean, Tech plays Miami, and if Mario Cristobal runs the ball when he can't, when he shouldn't, and Tech gets a fumble and scores again, Tech could beat them. I mean, Tech just got beat by a good quarterback.
He's king
on
as a gamer,
Saturday.
man. You don't know what he'll pull out of his hat.
Yeah, and the
Time's
running
right.
back's pretty good too. Marcus Haynes.
Yeah.
They don't look that bad. The Q's Dome or whatever they call it up there now, it's tough to play in. So
The Carrier Dome.
Carrier Dome, yeah, that's what.
So they got Testicle Tech this week. So real tough matchup.
the same team that Georgia beat last week.
No. This is the U. The U is playing Ball State next week.
Oh, okay.
And then they're going to play South Florida, Va Tech, California, Louisville, FSU, Duke, Tech, Wake, and the Cuse.
Okay. So, yeah, not an extremely difficult schedule.
No, there's no Clemson.
Yep.
They do have the Louisville game, so at least we know one of
Is
those
that
teams
at
will get to
Louisville?
lose. That is at Louisville.
Okay. All right. So that could be the game for the ACC. Who knows? Right now, there are only 11 schools that have beat a ranked school. I read that this morning too.
The top 25 has done that well, and you eliminate all of the inner battles like Texas, Michigan, because they're both ranked or something.
Yeah. With Texas to be a ranked team, no, they're not eliminated. There's just 11 schools that have won a game against a ranked team. Tech's one of them. Of course, Florida State shouldn't have been ranked.
Yeah, they're not ranked anymore after that.
Not
one.
ranked anymore, but at the time of the game, they were 10. So, I mean, this is what I love about college football.
Yeah, 'cause
it
how would you-
changes so much from week to week.
Billy Napier never thought he would wake up the third week of the season feeling like he's on the bubble.
Yeah. And we talk about all the good games, man. Let's talk about the bad ones. How about Notre Dame getting beat by Northern Illinois at home?
I love it.
They paid what? I think they paid them
1.4 or something.
$1.4 million to come into their place and beat them. And what's really amazing to me is they look so impressive against Texas A&M the first week.
Sure.
They-
We annoyed it. I put them in the final 12. I mean, we all
did
just
too, yeah.
pencil them in. I mean, how are they going to lose this schedule? Well, they
Yeah, and there's another game that it's not an embarrassing loss, but if you can have an embarrassing win, this was it. And
Oregon?
that was that was pretty ugly too. But Oklahoma going down to the wire with Houston.
Yes.
16-12, right?
And Houston got drubbed by UNLV the week before.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, UNLV actually looks really good, but that was not an impressive game for Oklahoma at all.
no, and if they're trying to make their mark now in the SEC, are they going to get run out of the stadium by Texas at the Red River Shootout?
Boy, who knows?
That game, I don't know. I don't know yet on that one. Sometimes you can throw the records out on that one, but Oregon.
Yeah.
And Boise State.
We penciled Boise State in as the number 12 team last year, which looks
Last week.
which looks like we might have been right.
Because that game, if Oregon doesn't have the punt return and kick return for touchdowns, they're going home losing.
Yeah. And they've got a really good running back, Genty. He
Yeah.
scored 6 touchdowns against Georgia Southern the week before, and he scored 2 or 3 this week. So
Yeah.
he's got 8 or 9 touchdowns in the first 2 games.
Well, and Gabriel, the quarterback, is completing 84% of his passes after 2 games. He's completing everything. He has 0 interceptions, and he's completing 84%. You would think that they've been winning everything 63-3.
But they haven't.
But that's
They
the
only
Dogs.
won by like 24-14 the first week. But again, I went back and watched some
Against
of that
the
game.
Vandals.
Against Idaho, and it was really like they slaughtered him. They just didn't score more points.
Well, but
Sooner or
is
later, you
Dan,
got
is Dan Lanning really going to, I don't want to say abandon defense, but where's their defense?
Was he the defensive coordinator at Georgia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I'm going to stick with my pick. They're my pick for the national champions.
The Ducks.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, unlike a lot of other problems that number 1 teams face, where they're not in a close game at all, so they never go down to the wire. Oregon's not going to have that problem.
No, no.
Every game is a stressful situation for them.
Yeah. And that's the way I think football ought to be. I mean, 6 of the top 7
Yeah.
teams now are SEC,
Well, and so who
but they're going
else
to beat
is-
each other up, and that's not going to stay that way.
Correct. And
Yeah.
that's what happens.
So who does Oregon have left to play?
Oregon plays everybody.
I was going to say, their
They
schedule's
got,
not a roll.
They got Ohio State, I think.
Hold on half a second.
And when some of those schools come west, they will have a legitimate home field advantage.
In Oregon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they do. I mean, I think they played at Ohio State a couple of years ago to open the season and beat them.
They went back and forth, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure who all the Ducks. They play Oregon State this
coming
weekend.
up.
One of the
Okay,
2
so-
teams left in the Pac-12.
So
in the Pac-2.
they beat the Vandals and the Broncos. Woo! Barely. All right, so at the Beavers, at UCLA,
Is Wally playing too, or just the Beaver?
just the Beaver.
Oh, okay.
Although Eddie Haskell is tentatively scheduled to come off the IR that
I
week.
think
so-
Lumpy Weatherford's still on the front line.
But if Ward hears about it, he's going to bust June.
Well, we don't want to go. We know that next line, yeah.
So Oregon State, UCLA, Michigan State, Ohio State, Purdue, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, Washington. So they have
They got Ohio
Washington,
State and Michigan.
Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin always starts out fast, and then they seem to get worse as the season goes along. Luke Fickell's a good coach, came from Cincinnati, right? But we're going to talk about that game here in a minute
Their
because
game
they're on our
wasn't very
picks.
impressive this past weekend. It
Yeah,
was just
Wisconsin?
kind of pedestrian. Yeah.
Well, my only thing is for these Pac-10 teams that are now part of the Big Ten, when you're playing Wisconsin in the 11th week, that's a
Right.
tougher game than going to Arizona State, and it's a team that likes to play defense. So there's a few things that you might look at the schedule and go, you don't have to worry about that, but it's going to be a little tougher than they're accustomed to.
Illinois, Purdue.
Yeah,
Oh, it's garbage.
Illinois beat they beat Kansas this week, right? My Jayhawks.
Yeah,
beat
yeah.
them, and I thought Kansas might have a chance to win the Big 12. But I just, you and I were talking after the Falcons game Sunday. I was just like, I don't even want to watch football
It's
anymore.
just such a small data set at this point.
It was just so horrible this weekend between KSU and Tech, and it was just miserable.
But you I'm looking at the Big Ten schedule standings right now. Who's in first place in the Big Ten right now?
Kansas State.
Nope, that's Big 12.
Oh yeah, in the Big Ten.
Big Ten. There's only been one conference game, so
Well, Wisconsin.
Michigan State. Michigan State is 1-0 in the conference, 2-0. But Michigan State, Illinois, Indiana, Nebraska, and Rutgers are all undefeated. So it's really
But then
early.
Well, Schiano's back at Rutgers after his debacle in Tampa Bay. Indiana's been putting up some points. I mean, I watched them in their first game, so they're not bad. I mean,
There were people that were picking Iowa to actually contend, and they lose to Iowa State. Now that's a great rivalry. It's
and
never-
Iowa
but
they were up 13-0 at the half. Yeah, that was
they-
incredible.
Every play in their offensive playbook came out for that
I picked
13
that
points.
game right. I had Iowa State.
I thought I was the only Iowa State, and all of you took Iowa. I'd like to go back to the tape on that one.
Show him the sheet, Larry. I picked Iowa State.
I'm just checking.
We just did this before you got here. I picked Iowa
Cyclones.
State, yeah. Speaking of our picks, we both went. Well, Robert went 3-2 last week in college. I went 2-3. Our guest, who was Ian, went 2-3, and ATI went 3-2. So everybody was within one game of each other. So no great shakes, but
But I did pick the two routes that nobody else picked. And I told you they would be routes.
Tennessee
Tennessee and Texas.
and Texas.
Just so you
Yeah,
saw that.
I did. I picked the other way on both of them. But 3-2, 2-3. So a pretty pedestrian week in terms of our picks. Nobody did great, and again, small sample size. So it's very difficult to say I'm great and you're bad. It's just the way the picks roll.
I don't have a problem saying that, Chuck.
I know you don't. All right. Well, speaking of, let's make our picks from this week. We've got Alabama traveling up to Camp Randall, and
Would you like to do a brain train first?
yeah, let's go ahead and do the brain train. Did I skip that?
You did.
Let's do a brain train commercial.
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations? Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit braintraincentersinc.com.
Sports right here at Miller's Ale House every Wednesday afternoon at 5 o'clock. We're going to get into our college picks now, and our first game is the Rolling Tide. Hey, Dana. Against Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
I would really like to go to Camp Randall because I think the thing that they do at the end of the third quarter, the jump around,
Yeah.
is just really, really cool.
I just want to do
one
it
time.
before November.
Yeah, before it's 10 degrees. Yeah. So Alabama, Wisconsin. You say Alabama's a little up, a little down. They did beat Western Kentucky bad, 63-0. Is that what it was? Mm-hmm. And then they struggled some against South Florida. But I'll go ahead and pick first. I think Wisconsin's probably going to keep it close, but I think Alabama wins the game. But I'll take Wisconsin plus the 16.
6? Yeah, I think that's a good bet.
I just think that Alabama has too much firepower. They have been sluggish, sporadic in some ways, but again, when I watched Wisconsin, they just seem slow and pedestrian. Now, they might bring some defense that lasts for a while, but if Alabama does the typical SEC lean and just runs the ball, those pickups start becoming 7-8 yards in the fourth quarter.
Farm boys up there in Wisconsin. They got big line.
Yeah,
Big Polish guys.
Yeah.
Almost everybody on a Wisconsin lineman is ski.
How about you, Robert?
So I'm taking Bama on.
I got you down for Bama.
I hate Wisconsin. Although I did learn something today. Who's the greatest musician from Wisconsin?
Oh, I don't know.
Steve Miller. Who knew? I didn't know he was from there. So I bumped him up one notch. They're still in last place, but I like Wisconsin because of Steve Miller. But I'll take Bama with all those minus all those points. I think they'll start doing the SEC lean, as you said, and I think it'll be a Milrow game. So probably run for 3.
Their little freshman receiver is really good too. Williams,
the kid who's 17 still.
Yeah. He's quick.
It's pretty crazy. Did you watch that game? Where they just keep talking about he's only 17, just flying down the field.
All right, LSU -7 at South Carolina. South Carolina showed up that was in Kentucky last week, wasn't it?
It was.
It was.
Yeah. LSU lost to Southern Cal first game. Did they bounce back?
They had a easy game and they made it look tough.
Yeah.
I want to say it was McNeese State. It wasn't McNeese State, but it was somebody like that. I'm taking LSU minus the points. I think LSU was one of the 4 teams I thought before the season start would make the final 12, and they're on their way.
John, how about you?
Yeah, I think LSU has just got too much talent. Their quarterback is rock solid, and I think that South Carolina, Beamer, he's a good guy,
Beamer
but I don't know
ball.
that he's going to be able to really keep them jacked up and able to contain LSU.
Yeah, I don't think he's everything his dad was, but Frank Beamer was a great coach. But Sean's pretty good, but I'm going to go with the Bengal Tigers, too. LSU, across the board. ATI would probably pick South Carolina.
He'd pick a race car driver. Let's not kid ourselves.
That's true. All right, Boston College, +17 at Missouri.
Give me Misery. That is a good-looking football team right now.
Yeah.
We weren't sure if we should slide them into 6th or 7th or maybe even 5th in the SEC. Keep going.
Luther Burden is the real deal.
He's a great receiver.
Yeah, so I think that Boston College has spent everything they've got to spend at this point.
So you're taking Missouri?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to take the points. Again, I did see that weather might be a factor at this game. So anytime there's rain and stuff, I think it's going to be close. I'll take BC +17. Oregon at Oregon State. This is the week that the Ducks bust out. I'll take the Ducks, covering the 16.5.
Ducks finally show up against the big in-state rival that they left in the old conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see how Dan Lanning, he's too good a coach that he's going to let them just walk it in like that. So I'm taking the Ducks too.
I love Beaver. I'm taking Oregon State.
Robert
the Beavers.
takes Oregon
All
State.
right.
They're going to have to at least beat one team before I'm willing to start throwing down 3 touchdowns for them because they do not look good.
God, with only 2 teams, the Pac-12 could have like the ugliest winning record outside their own conference.
Or they could have the best winning record.
What'd you do in your conference? Well, went 1-0. Pretty good game.
We were undefeated.
We were undefeated in the conference.
All right, Larry's Green Wave at the Sooners.
I'll take the points. I'll take the wave.
I'm going to take Tulane as well.
I'm taking Tulane as well because I am not an OU fan, and
folks,
they don't look good.
if you're keeping track at home, that means bet the farm on Oklahoma.
Right.
Just saying, that one's pretty easy at this point.
Now, John's wife, Charlotte's a TCU grad. Does she follow TCU football pretty close?
She doesn't really follow it. She's become a Bulldog fan, but her mom,
Because of the girls?
Solid girl.
her mom, who now lives 5 miles away,
Yeah.
is a massive Sooner fan.
Oh, yeah?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So
Well, all right. Well, that's our college segment. We got our picks in for college, and we're going to move on
And
to
this will be just about it, right? Then it'll be conference play after this.
for the most part. Yeah. Yeah. That next week should start some really good games.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That war of attrition that you were talking
Look at
about.
the Mets score. Mets
Six
scored.
freaking
Mets
runs.
scored
As soon as I say how much I
no
hate
hit
them,
going into the ninth, and they score 6 runs in the ninth.
I hate both those teams. I hate them both.
All right.
yeah,
So
where's John Rocker when you need him?
yeah. All right. Let's get
Run the green train. Thank you.
All right. Let's get American Access commercials out of the way.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, the most memorable workouting ever, or just wanting to take something off your bucket list, American Access in their 3.5 Atlanta locations in Marietta, Tucker, downtown at the Works, and the uber cool new mobile axe experience that can be set up wherever you need. Keep an eye out for them at coming events and festivals, including some Falcons games. Look us up at American Access or give us a call at 678-763-3635. That's 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
You're a copycat.
I know. Well, hey, it's good.
It all sounded good, didn't it?
It's good old WTVS advertising. You always do the phone number twice.
Ronco-matic.
Always do the phone number twice.
That's funny. So thank you, Dan Fisher and American Access. We're going to get into some more professional picks here in a few minutes. But let's talk about those amazing Falcons. New coach, new quarterback, same Falcons.
It's the Cousins curse, man. You can't escape it.
Yeah.
What is the Cousins curse? He's succeeded everywhere he's ever gone except for here.
No, not Kirk Cousins, but the old Cousins ownership of the
Tom Cousins.
Oh, there you go. We didn't look good. The biggest problem is that right foot. For any quarterback to be successful in the league, you have to plant your back foot and
push off.
And all of your weight has to push off. That's where your momentum comes. It's like everything else. If you swing a baseball bat, all your power comes from your legs. Well, same thing with a football. And he did not do that one time successfully. I was listening to a guy on Sirius XM, and he went play by play, and he said every time that right foot touched the ground, it wasn't even close to being planted. And so the only question I have for you guys is this: is it Cousins or is it the ankle? Is the ankle ready, but he's not willing to risk it? Or is the ankle not ready? Because I think this is one of those things personally that if he gets chased by, and Lord knows TJ Watt was chasing him around, by accident, he'll plant that foot, fire it off, and then we won't have to worry about it. But right now, I think it's all in his head.
They won't have Penix.
Well, it'll either break or he won't have to worry about it anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
That's. But I think it's in his head right now.
Yeah, I was wondering, should we have played him some in the preseason to get this out of him?
But if he was barely making it back based on normal, recovery rates, then you don't want to play him a month earlier. And I think that's what you get. I don't know.
But I think they prepared kind of like, it doesn't matter if we win this first game or not, but I think you got to prepare to win every game. And I don't think after watching him play that they had a chance of winning because of the things that you're saying, that he couldn't plant his foot, that he couldn't scramble out of the pocket. I mean, it just seemed like, okay, we're going to let him play, but I don't really like the chances. I mean, the defense played well. They didn't give up a touchdown.
So what's the outlook on the ankle, though? Are they saying, oh, you're good to go, or is it, hey,
Well,
we're fine?
said he's fine.
He's been cleared to play. So I personally, and once again, this is just me, I think it's him.
Up
you
here.
gotta plant
Yeah.
that thing and fire it, and then all your confidence comes back. But I mean, he's out on the field.
But
when
he
he's
can
not a
plant that.
scrambler.
He can plant it in practice.
But
he doesn't have to do it in a game.
But you're not really planning it in practice. That's the whole thing. In practice, it's different when this guy. It's different when somebody's coming in to just rip your head off your shoulders, and he didn't look good. Like I said, T.J. Watt was free the entire game to rip his head off.
Oh yeah, and Chris Lindstrom got hurt. I don't know. Did he come back in the game? I don't
know.
think he did. But McGarry got eaten alive by T.J. Watt. Eaten alive. And they traded for somebody, a Raider or some offensive lineman this week. But
Which once again, McGarity, yes, he got eaten alive. It's what T.J. Watt does to people. But we did only give up 6 field goals. Never let anybody cross that Mendoza line. And,
very few teams didn't give up a touchdown.
Was that Falcons defense, or was that Pittsburgh ineptitude?
I think
Probably a
it's
combination of the two.
and probably a little bit more Pittsburgh because, obviously Fields can't throw the ball.
And he's back again this week. They said he's playing again this week, starting. So, yeah. Falcons, I don't know. What's the spread on the game in 6.5 at Philly? I don't like to go against the Falcons. But,
You get Jordan Davis coming after him at the same time. That's a whole lot of human being that can run as fast as Cousins can.
I saw him get his personal foul this weekend at the Green Bay game. Did you see that? I can't remember what he did. He slugged somebody or something. It was, typical Georgia guy. Can't control himself.
So tell me this, we always make fun of stuff, and we know that new coaches are, up for more ridicule and more pressure and everything else. So we go up to Philly, Big Jordan rolls over on him one time, and they got to bring in a backup. And Penix comes out there and just darts one to London. Hey, let's make sure, how tough of a position would that be for a first-time head coach with a $190 million player
invested
in week
in
2?
Kirk Cousins.
Wow. And I don't think we're that far away from that. I think that's...
I agree with you 100% on this. Yeah.
Because a lot of times when Jordan Love was sitting down at the end of the bench, he was the third string. He wasn't the guy coming in immediately if there was an injury. That's not the case with us.
Do you not worry about Penix just in general? The guy's knees have been blown out 3 times.
I think he's bionic at this point. I'm good with him. Everything's already fake, and he's got rubber bands and staples and a few bolts.
Needs some of those Joe Namath knee braces.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe some pantyhose.
That's interesting. Take on Penix. Yeah, I've always said since day one, I was very happy with him getting Cousins. I was okay with him getting Penix, but not both. I just think it was a waste of money, a waste of time. And Dallas Turner, they could have had 3 sacks this weekend, by the way, I think, from Minnesota. So,
and you're right. We talked about it extensively a couple months ago, but if they only draft Penix, that $190 million that could split over 4 different seasons, so $45 million. Where would we have spent $45 million more on this team? Wow. We'd had a better pass rush. We'd had a better this. We'd had a better, could have been a lot of things, but it's not.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
It is the way it is when we go to Philadelphia this week. Now, obviously, go ahead, John.
I was going to say the one thing we need to just keep in mind, it's our first data point. We don't know what was happening on the sideline, what was happening in the locker room, and what was happening in prep. This is the first game. There should be change that we get to see, hopefully for the better.
I hope so.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, but obviously we're disappointed in the Falcons losing, but there were a lot more pro games that were played, some that were disastrous, and I bring to mind the Saints and the Panthers. Panthers are horrible.
That was 30-0 at halftime when they had to kick a field goal. It was 30-3 at halftime. Hey, you got off the schneid.
Yeah.
It's not a good football team.
No, they're not. So hopefully that's 2 wins for the Falcons. Yeah. And Saints. Look, again, this is back to the Texas. Are they good or are they that bad? Is Carolina
Carolina's
that
that
poor,
bad, but-
or are the Saints that good?
But, at the end of the day, one of the other problems that I have with this whole first game is London had 3 targets. I said it before. We've been drafting like we want to drive fast, and we went out and we got a race car driver.
And we don't give him the rock.
Well, yeah. We've got to see how these guys. If he's only getting 3 attempts, I think Mariota was throwing at him more than that. So I mean, it's got to go up from here. But I did say that to a buddy of mine. Is it a chance? And I'm not trying to jinx already jinxed organization, but with 2 huge games coming with Philly and KC, is there a chance that we are as low as we will be all year?
I think so, because our schedule, we've got the weakest schedule in the league, but it so happens that it's very heavy loaded in the front. We got Pittsburgh, who we should have beat, and then we've got Philadelphia and we've got Kansas City. But then it gets a little bit easier. And we'll see what happens, but I think it's very few teams that go 0-3 and then make the playoffs. But it could happen this time.
It's in our schedule definitely says it could happen, but you're absolutely right. 0-3 and 0-4 making playoffs, even with this extra game being added the 17th week, very difficult. Very difficult.
I shudder to think. So the other games, I wasn't impressed with the game in Brazil. I don't know, Larry, thank you for sending me the code where I could watch it on Peacock. But the announcers were horrible. They're the most boring announcers I've ever heard in my life. Robert and I'll say this, Larry and ATI could have done a better job than those guys. They were horrible. I didn't.
I think that was a compliment, Larry.
It was, yeah. I just hated it. The KC Philadelphia game was good. That was, Baltimore game. That was a fun game to watch.
Watching the first part of that game, when that game first started and they went, King Henry to the right, King Henry to the right, fake it to King Henry, Lamar to the left, Lamar to the left. You're sitting there watching the first 4 minutes and you're like, they're going to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl, because you cannot stop the skinny guy who's really fast going this way and the big guy, and then they just stopped calling his number. It's unfathomable.
Do you believe that was the right call at the end of the game?
Refresh me.
The guy's toe was out of bounds.
Oh, clearly.
Did you see that, John?
I did not see it.
Like
His
thumbnail was out of bounds.
His toe was just over the line. It would have been a game tying
well,
touchdown.
they would have been within 1, and Harbaugh said he would have gone for 2 to try to win the game.
But I did like what Mahomes said on it.
I didn't hear that.
Should have wore white shoes.
Yeah, because he had black shoes and it showed up on the white where he was out of bounds.
Yeah. No, it was a good game. That was definitely the right call.
Yeah. Your boy Xavier Worthy showed up, man.
How crazy is that, though? If you ever want to find something in fantasy that is unattainable ever again, 3 touches, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
but
you
he's impressive.
didn't start him, right?
I did not start him.
Yeah.
Because I thought he'd probably only get 3 touches. I just wasn't smart enough to know he'd go to the store on 2 of them.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. How about Sean's Jets? How did Aaron Rodgers look?
Yeah,
Sean doesn't want to talk about it.
Jets fans are jilted and jaded already. They don't have to watch a new game.
I didn't even look. Did Bill start Christian McCaffrey? Did he pay enough attention?
No, Bill. So in one of my fantasy leagues, by the time he got benched, the guy who had the number 1 pick was trapped with having CMC in the lineup and lost the game by 5 points. Bill. He was very tricky. I liked it. He took his tight end Conklin, who was on the bench, who also hadn't played, and so he got rid of Conklin and brought what's the guy who used to play for the Packers, Ujinsik, or the fullback for San Francisco.
Yeah.
So he slid him into the lineup to get a few points out of it.
Why didn't he put Jordan Mason in there?
Jordan Mason had already been picked up and signed.
Had he? Oh, okay, all right. Because San Francisco looked pretty good. And Jordan
Tampa.
Love, Tampa looked good too against who did they play?
Played Washington.
Yeah, the Commanders. Yeah, Jordan Love got hurt. That kind of hurts my pick of the Packers being in the Super Bowl, but they say it's only for 4 games, so we'll see what happens.
It's hard to hurt that pick any more than it was already hurting.
I saw 3 people on the NFL Network that also picked the Packers to go to the Super Bowl.
And all of you were wrong. It's okay.
So far.
Hey, at least you can move on. You can move on with your life.
What's your word, John? Small database, right? 1 game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One game.
small database, but he won't be around for the data for 2, 3, 4, 5. Or
Yeah,
6
who's
weeks.
Malik Lewis is the starter now?
Started going downhill quick.
Yeah.
How about Tyreek? Does anybody else? I did a DraftKings about 20 minutes before 1 o'clock, and I'm filling out the lineup, and I was like, dude's been handcuffed on the ground today. There's no way I'm not taking it. He is going to show up just like Scotty Scheffler. I said Scheffler would show up that one day. Same thing. And did you see the dance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? How
Yeah.
awesome is that?
I don't want to get into political commentary about that, but yeah, he showed up. And
He showed up?
Scored an 80-yard touchdown. But my man A-Chain showed up pretty good, too. He had
He
a good
did.
day. He had 22-something points like that. All right, so we've got the most embarrassing loss before we go to that. Who is it? Got to be Carolina, right?
Well, but we thought Carolina was awful. The Bungles, we thought Patriots were going to be awful, and the Bengals losing to the Patriots in Week 1 is that's about as bad as he gets, I think.
Yeah, that
because-
was an 8-point spread.
Well, it's. I wasn't sure if the Patriots would get 4 wins this year, and now all of a sudden they're 1-0.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's a good loss.
I go back to the Falcons. You're only putting up 10 points against Pittsburgh. It's not like this is not the Steel Curtain anymore.
No, it's not. It's not.
Jack Ham was not out there.
Yeah. Or Tiny Troy.
Yeah.
Palamulo. I love Troy Palamulo. I wasn't a big Steelers fan, but I had a buddy that was a huge
Tiny
Steelers
Troy has
fan.
no flakes.
He does has no flakes.
He
He's
has
really
great hair.
great.
Great hair.
But
But yeah, so watching that is just
it's so heartbreaking. It's like I
It
said,
is.
after the game was over, I didn't even watch football anymore the rest of the weekend.
No.
Yeah.
And
It was
I
just
said,
hard.
and I said it earlier. I felt like William Wallace in halfway through the movie when he's fighting and then he rips the helmet off and he sees that it's Robert the Bruce.
Right.
And he realizes that everything he's looking for in love and life is all a lie. That's how I felt at 4 o'clock. It was like, I got 17 more weeks of this. I don't want 17 more weeks of this type of pain already.
I literally watched 11 and a half hours of football both Saturdays. And this Sunday after 4 o'clock, I didn't watch the Sunday night game. I didn't watch any of the 4 o'clock games. I heard
Demoralizing.
yeah, it was just so demoralizing. I heard Brady did a decent job calling the game. I didn't see any
I
of
didn't
it.
do a lot of it, but I was watching the college game on Saturday when they went and they interviewed him. They were like, it was one color guy to the other color guy, and it was abysmal. Is a great word to use because it was horrific. I mean, he was like, and I did talk to somebody who said there was a lot of dead air on that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't see any of it. I'm sure I'll watch them eventually when I recover from my disappointment of my
Pain.
Falcons.
my expectations are so low to start with, and not in a hugely derogatory way. It's like, guys, play some crisp football, score 20 to 27 points, show up with some defense. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but don't be inept. When you're inept, it's just. I don't know, it takes me back to when
It
the
hurts-
Braves would
it
be
hurts
25
worse.
games out by the All-Star break. It's like just
It hurts worse. It's just horrible.
I love Bijan, and I think Bijan could be an MVP. But the same way we were talking about earlier, David Montgomery in overtime for the Lions and how they just kept giving him the rock, and he kept going forward and everything. Algier had a run for 15 yards early in that game, and you're like, all right, there's our backup. Because I mean, this
First
is one,
drive was great.
It's one of our best attributes is that I believe we have possibly the best backup running back.
yeah.
And they, that was it.
3
It's like,
carries you got for the game.
Yeah,
What did Cousins have? 150 yards? Was that?
It was-
It was less than 200.
it was
wasn't
bad.
Yeah,
it was
it was
bad.
bad. Speaking of bad, let's,
All right.
let's go ahead and get our picks. We both went 2 and 3. No,
No.
Robert went 4 and 2. 3 and 2. I went 3 and 3, or 2 and 3. Yeah, because we picked 5 games. Robert went 3-2. I went 2-3. Our guest Ian went 3-2, and ATI went 2-3.
But I just want to point out that if you don't make me pick the games that I don't want to pick, I'm 4-1 in both of those.
Well, I'll tell you this: you pick the games next week because I don't care which ones we pick.
I'm always going to pick the Falcons. It matters not.
There you go.
We'll just keep. This is his regular percentage, but this is what he did with the Falcons this year.
All right, we got 5 minutes left to make 5 picks. Let's do it. Buffalo +2 at Miami. Miami had to come back and beat Jacksonville after a 17-0 lead. I think Jacksonville was up 17-0. Miami kicked a 50-something yard field goal to win the game. Let me flip over my sheet here so I can mark these. I'm going to take Miami.
Yeah, Miami's at home. Give me Miami.
Sorry, Robert.
I appreciate getting the free win on this one. I'll take Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah, Buffalo, man, did Josh Allen look good.
He ran the ball. No doubt about that.
And that's what you know you're going to get when you have no wide receivers.
Exactly. All right. New Orleans +6.5 at Dallas. So is New Orleans for real, or is Dallas as good as they looked against Cleveland?
Neither.
Exactly. So give me the points. I'm going to take New Orleans.
Then I'll take Dallas.
All right.
I think they are solid in too many ways.
I'm going to take Dallas. I think it's going to be. It could be a close game. I might lose. I think Dallas is going to win. We'll see if I cover or not, but I'll go Dallas.
Cincy +6 at Kansas City.
KC. Did I say that
across the board?
Did I say that too quick on that? Yeah, Cincinnati with that game 1 against New England.
Only scoring 10 points at home, and now they're going into
Chase's escapades. Yeah, they're not looking good right now. And the running back, definitely Brown, did not fill in for Mixon well.
No, he did not. Are you going to start Worthy this week?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Cool. All right. Chicago +6.5 at Houston. Chicago had an interesting game. They were down big to Tennessee early and came back with defense and won that ball game.
Yeah, I mean they're horrible. I don't think I've ever seen a worse team win opening week
Than Chicago's?
than Chicago.
Yeah. That mean you're taking Houston?
Well, I mean, they didn't do anything, right?
No.
Nothing. Yeah, I'm definitely taking the Strouds on this one. I'm blown away that it's only 6.5 points. Based on what you watched the first week, where their offense did nothing, I don't know how this is only a 6.5 point spread.
All right. John, how about you, buddy?
Houston, I don't know. 6.5. I've gone with the home team on everything. Give me Chicago on this one in the points.
Chicago. All right.
Chicago, bang bang.
And the one, Atlanta +6.5 at Philadelphia. Boy, I want to take the Falcons, but I'm not.
Yeah, give me the Eagles.
Can't do it. Taking them Coons.
Sticking with the Dirty Birds.
But this should be an easy. This should be a very interesting week to figure a lot of these problems out. You know, we talked about anointing certain college teams into the Final 12 last week. This will be the week where you go, okay, yeah, this team's really bad. This team must be worse.
I don't know. I can never bet on the Falcons. Just to break your heart.
Exactly. Just downtrodden about the Falcons. Brutal. You know, one thing that really happened cool this weekend that we didn't talk about during the college segment was Tuscaloosa now is Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. That was a pretty cool little celebration they did for him.
Yeah.
And he did some cool things. He said all the right things. It's not me. It's about the team and players.
Absolutely. But let me tell you, when it was 21-16, Papa was praying that South Florida was going to storm Saban Field and give the inauguration the party it deserved.
Does he ever come back?
No.
Does he ever go to the NFL? Has he coached his last game?
He's coached his last game.
I think he's done. And I like him on on what little of game day I watch. I can't watch it because I can't stand Pat McAfee.
No,
But,
God, what a horrible move that was.
Yeah, but I do love. I love
What, you
Saban.
taking his clothes off, jumping in Saban's lap?
Yeah, I jumped on his Instagram page and said, why don't you get a job at a strip club? That way you can do what you want to, take your clothes off, and you might be funny to those people
I
because
don't-
you're not.
And I don't know if you guys saw this, but I saw something on Instagram or Twitter, and not just the one where he jumps in his lap. It's like in between commercials.
Oh, yeah.
And in between the commercials, they're playing this music, and McAfee's doing all this, and Saban's sitting right next to him. He just keeps like looking at him,
Yeah.
like slide down just a hair.
One of Pat's fans got on me and said, well, it seems like you just want to see Pat McAfee take his clothes off. I said, yeah, and you want to do something with him after he takes his clothes off, so just leave me alone. So, all right, we've come to the end of another Three Guys Who Love Sports. John, as always, buddy.
Thank you.
Great to have you on the show. Robert, good one.
Absolutely, sir.
Good week to be back, and we look forward to having everybody out here at 7 o'clock for the Owl Show, where we got Keely Scott and Gary Milway going to be on the show. We're going to talk about some good things going on at Kennesaw State. But until then, guys, know your numbers, cover your ass, get your prostate checked. We'll see you next week right here. See you.